Welcome everybody to our first episode of 2021 of UFO Man Live. Last week, I got a lot of sentiments sent my way and goodwill and good vibes, and I want to thank everyone for sending them. I was struggling with COVID-19 and now I'm completely over it. So I wanted to say I'm back, I'm healthy, and I tested negative. So anyways, now Tommy was out also last week with a dental procedure. Tommy, can you tell us about it?
Sure can, Tim. Folks, I got to tell you, fillings do not last forever, especially when you got them back in probably the 70s. And what happened to me was I've had fillings that I've had since I was probably 10, 12 years old. And about a couple of years ago, I was actually out to dinner with my father eating sushi of all things. And one of my canine teeth decided to sue me for divorce and won. Basically, the tooth just crumbled because it's, again, a filling that I'd had for most of my life. Now, as that wasn't bad enough, about a week later, the other canine tooth decided to fold too. So I went ahead and had the root canal procedure and all that and had the remainder of the teeth removed and whatnot. And I was going to go ahead and have replacement surgery. But to be honest with you, I found a solution that I created that were like basically fake teeth, and they work really well. They still do work well. However, I just thought that it was probably time to go ahead and come up with a more permanent solution. So made myself an appointment with an oral surgeon and went in and had my consultation and all of that good stuff. And they offered to do the surgery, but it was unique because a robot actually did the surgery. Let me go ahead and throw up a couple of photos here for you folks. I'm just going to show you a couple quickies. There's nothing gross here, anything like that. But let's go.
Hold on a second here. Hold on. Okay, I'll bring it up. Okay.
And there's me, and of course, nothing else but the UFO Man merch at the dentist. This is before the procedure. And then this is actually at the start of the procedure. They put this thing in your mouth, and it basically grabs you by your front teeth. I wouldn't say that the procedure was particularly painful or anything like that, but when you've got a machine it's got you by the head like that, it's a little unnerving to say the least. This is what it looks like when you're actually down on the table, and this is the drill that comes down, and this is the thing I was telling you about that was holding my teeth and head in place. They were going to try to do two at once, both in the same day, but I got to be honest, after the first time, I was pretty much baked after that. So I went ahead and made a second appointment for a couple of weeks from now. But anyway, that's me right after the procedure. I walked out of there. I drove away. It was really amazing. And again, it was done via robot. It was it was really unique, to say the least.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go through that. I guess we both had our own struggle last week, and you had pain and I had pain of a different sort. I got to tell you, with COVID, I learned that the major side effect that you get afterwards is lack of taste and lack of smell. And I guess it may take up to a month to come back. I just don't have it right now, so I can't smell anything. So if my clothes get really bad, I can't smell them. So I'm just kidding. But honestly, COVID is nothing to mess with. I never thought I'd get it. And I was exposed indirectly to someone, and I did get it. But thank you for your sentiments. I really appreciate it. It helped me get through it all. And okay, tonight's subjects, one of them was referred to me by a person that is not with us tonight, Thomas Fessler, and it was about a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman named James Blackwood, who in 1978 had a close-up encounter with a very large UFO, and it was more of a disc shape. In fact, I will show you a picture of what it looked like. He had it drawn up by a friend of his. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. And it kind of has a hook on the left-hand side of it. He didn't get any photographs back then. They didn't have dash cams back in 1978, which was 42 years ago. So he just was dumbfounded. And if you can see the size of it, it's incredible. Now, we have his firsthand testimony from 1978, which we are going to play. Here we go. Okay, just gotta get my mouse over here.
It was about, as you say, 10 to 2 in the morning, on the early morning of the Thursday morning of the 26th of October, 1978. We received a call from a local resident here in Clarenville that there was something flying in the sky and that it appeared to be a UFO. At the time, I was on the other side of Clarenville. I couldn't see the object, so I strolled down to what we call Marine Drive, and I stopped the police car where the resident was standing on the road with his binoculars, and looked up into the sky and noticed a oval-type like object coming from the west, heading east, just across the sky here in Clarenville. Now, it appeared to me at the time that the object was anywhere approximately probably 2,000, 3,000 feet in altitude, and its distance from Clarenville is approximately about a half a mile, no more than that. Now, at this time, my first impression, I thought it might have been a jet flying overhead, until the resident passed me his binoculars and asked me to take a closer look, which I did. And at this time, I could see blue flashing lights. Now, I still wasn't sure the identity of the object. I thought to myself it could have still been an airplane, so I strolled to the detachment office and obtained the telescope that we have here. Now, the magnification of this telescope is from 15x to 60x range. It has a zoom lens. Now, I left the detachment office and went down to Marine Drive where the complainant was still there, observing this object. The object at this time had stopped moving, and it was just hovering just on the northeast coast of Random Island. I watched the object again to see if it was going to move anymore, and it didn't, so I set up my tripod that we use for the telescope, mounted the telescope, and observed the object at the 15x range. Now, as I observed in this range, it was much more powerful than your normal binoculars that people buy in your local stores. At this time, I noticed distinctly the blue flashing lights were on each side of the object, and there was one red one on the top, and it appeared to be in the middle of the object itself. Now, I was a bit bewildered at first as to what it was. I was very astonished, so I zoomed in the object to take a closer look. Now, at this time, the object was filled out the whole circular telescope, you know, the end of your telescope, circular. Well, it filled out completely, and I had to focus a bit. And the bottom half of the object was completely illuminated by some sort of light. Now, I couldn't see where the light was coming from. And it didn't seem to be like a reflection. It seemed like a source of light. Now, the blue light in question was flashing very, very rapidly. It's the fastest flashing light I've ever seen on any police vehicle or any aircraft. And the object turned around, and I noticed that it also had a blue light on the other side as well. And it too was flashing at a very rapid speed. So I watched it at maximum range, and I zeroed in on the red light on top to see if I can make out what it was. Now, this red light was combined of a red and a white light, so you have a flashing red and white together. You know, you'd have red, white, etc. This light as well was still flashing quite rapidly. And I observed the tail of the object was an oval shape, and it also had a small fin like an airplane, triangular shape, but it was much smaller, it was stubbier. Like, it didn't seem like it would be any use of, you know, to any aircraft that, you know, known to man. The vehicle stayed there for approximately an hour and a half without moving. Then it started to turn from side to side, and it would move up and move down sideways, back and forth. And then it proceeded then to leave the flammable area. At first, it started off very, very slowly. It appeared to be driving probably at an airspeed of a normal jet, no faster. So I left the lower road there in Claremont called Marine Drive, came back to the office. I set up the telescope here in this office and watched it leave the area. And just as a split second, the vehicle disappeared. Now, I can't say whether I don't even know what the object was, but I was positive that it definitely was not a star. In fact, I did try to zoom in the brightest star just to be on the safe side before I did make any type of an official report. And this proved negative. There was no way I could zoom in a star at this range. I haven't seen the object since. We have had many reports of the object been seen lately, but they've been proved negative. Well, that's all I can tell you right now, Mr. Strong, about the object.
I suppose you can give us an opinion of how big the object might have been, how long it might have been, or how high it might have been.
Well, the size appeared to me, I don't know if you know, it's the 737 Boeings that the EPA used. It was a little bit larger than that, but a little smaller than your DC-8. It's about in the middle there somewhere.
Up 100 feet.
Yes.
And how high would it be?
It was approximately 2,000 to 3,000 feet.
There was no wind, it was just simply
No, the sky was clear. There wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Would you mind holding up the drawing you did of the object for the camera's person?
Yes. This is just a rough sketch of the object. And you notice here that this is the tail that I mentioned earlier. And it's a very small tail. Now, the blue flashing lights, there was one on this side here and one on the other side of the vehicle, and the red light was approximately here. And
it turned around.
Yes, well, first I viewed it from this side, and then it turned face onto me. And then it turned to the other side. I could see the other light flashing, and then it turned back onto me again. From the
slowly turning.
Just slowly, yes. It wasn't a quick movement. And then it made quick movements up and down, and then back and forth this way. And always returning to the same position where it was before. Now, the structure, I couldn't tell what the structure was, but I could plainly see there was no windows of any type on the object. I couldn't see any openings where a door would be or anything like that, but it was obvious that it was a metallic structure, but what type of metal I wouldn't care to guess, but it wasn't, it didn't seem like aluminum where aluminum shines. This was like a dull metal, very porous dull metal.
There was no marking.
None whatsoever, no.
And the light lower part that showed the light, let's see, sort of the bottom.
This bottom part here, all this bottom half here.
Totally aglow.
Totally aglow, yes. And as I focused the zoom to maximum, the light was that intense that it was hard to see, you know, through the telescope. It was that intense it would almost hurt your eyes. But at a distance with the naked eye, you could plainly see this glow, and then the lights over top of it.
Was it gray color, would you say?
The metal appeared to be a grayish color. It appeared to be a very dense, well, it appeared to me like a heavy metal, not like an airplane metal or aluminum.
And although the light was flashing on the side, there was no indication of a porthole or a window.
No, just the light. I couldn't see that clear what the light was housed in or how it was flashing.
And of course, the couple who had called you in the first case to bring about the sighting, they were seeing it. They were witnesses to it anyway.
Oh yes, yes.
And they had no doubt.
No, well, the husband did look through the telescope with me at the time when I had it set up down on the Marine Drive.
And seeing a man in his mid-40s or what?
Yes, I would say yes.
In a resident term.
Yes.
And this, there has been no other time when the vehicle, a similar vehicle like this, had been seen in this area?
Well, the resident called a week prior to that and stated that the object was there. And he stated to me this night that this was the same object that he'd seen the week before, although no members of our detachment did observe it.
I understand there's a radio man in town who's also seen an object like this. I understood from the...
So this thing gets around, apparently.
Well,
yes.
I don't know anything about that. No, I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Constable? Because I think this is rather a historical film we're doing for the archives. It's certainly the most incredible discovery, I think, as we discover a vehicle that's not a helicopter, obviously, because that's the only composer of this in this way.
Well, if it was a helicopter, with the magnification I had, I would have plainly seen the props rotating. A normal aircraft has a red light above the the fuselage and as well on the bottom, but these are only used during takeoff and landings. It's very seldom you see them operating while in flight. Usually the jet is much higher than what this object was. This was just barely above the horizon.
Was it actually over RENE mine itself?
Yes, it appeared to be around the district of Weybridge in Elliott's Cove, which is across the water here is approximately half a mile.
It's just over that.
Yes.
So it's possible that people in that area might have seen it.
Oh yes, I'm surprised we haven't received more reports than we did. Like I say, it was in the middle of the week, of course, and it was there until approximately I believe 3:30 before it left.
We're talking about October 26th, 1978.
That's right. Yes. So it's a normal reaction from any human being. You would say, well, anybody's talking about a flying saucer or UFO. Well, it's a lot of mumbo jumbo. I'd say probably a lot of people here in Newfoundland don't believe these things, but it really changed my outlook of the situation since I did sight this object. Like I say, Mr. Sterling, I still can't say what it was, what kind of a vehicle or it was, or whatever kind of an aircraft. But it certainly changed my outlook on the situation. I always had been a non-believer in these things before, but it really changed my opinion after seeing it.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll do that.
Yep. change your view of the world, man.
Everything.
I suppose I wouldn't be able to say no, I don't believe in it. I'd have to say yes.
There's no wings on it. There was no sign of propellers or jet engines.
So there was nothing there that I could see was holding that thing in the air, other than this small little tail at the rear end. But like I said, I couldn't see how that had any use to, you know.
Pyramid shape.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Of course, under the theories, the pyramid was an anti-gravitational engine, and that they reversed the gravity, and that's one of the theories they have on these vehicles. But it means that there's a technology we don't know about somewhere in the cosmos. But in other words, we've seen a vehicle that is contrary to any exists in the world.
Yes, well, I've taken up airplane building as a hobby myself. I've known just about every aircraft ever built, but this is the first one of this design that I've ever seen or even read about.
Because it wasn't an aircraft.
And of course, it's impossible to
He's calling it an
how big
aircraft.
it was, other than it was between those two planes you mentioned. But it would certainly be over 100 or 200 feet long.
Oh, yes, definitely, yes.
So a vehicle 200 feet long and 30 or 40 feet high, hovering for over an hour and a half under telescope observation is certainly something that's beyond our present understanding of aerodynamics. And I can well understand it must have been, after you'd seen it, after you start thinking and being asked about it, must have really been a strange sensation.
Well, it was. My first glimpse of it, like I said before, I was very bewildered. And then after looking into the other witnesses' binoculars, I was even more amazed. But then after I observed it through a telescope, I didn't know what to think to myself. I said, what am I looking at? You know, is it a star? And so this is when I went ahead and focused in the brightest star I could find. And I said, no, it's not a star. But these lights is what really threw me off. It's not what I expected to see in a UFO. I thought you'd just see a white light, and that, this is all there was to it.
Blue and a red and white. Blue on each side and a red and white, fast. And all of them were flickering on and off at a tremendous speed.
Very tremendous speed, yes. It was almost like the speed of what we have those white lights they use in these rock and roll groups, where it distorts the vision if you're ever in the building at the time. It was flashing almost as fast as these would flash. But just the same, I couldn't tell if it was revolving, but it appeared to me it was just going off and on.
But you couldn't see where it was coming from. In other words, there was no window. There must have been a very tiny opening where the lights were coming.
Yes, yes.
And we're talking to Constable Jim Blackwood of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Detachment in Clarendon, Newfoundland. And we've just heard described to you a sighting that was seen at 1:50 a.m. of the morning of the 26th of October, 1978. As we close this verification from the RCMP detachment, we'd like to thank Chief Inspector Barr and his staff for allowing us permission to have this interview. We'd like to thank very much the sergeant here in charge, and we'd like to thank you, Constable Jim Blackwood, for your cooperation. We feel it's a very historical film that we put in the archives, this sighting in Newfoundland.
Okay. What do you think of that, Tommy?
Very interesting. It's like I was saying in the chat. I love it when police officers are witnesses to UFOs. I really like it. There was an unsolved mysteries that happened very close to my home. In fact, I think I actually witnessed it as a child. It talks about a couple of police officers that were witnesses to a UFO way back then. The thing about police officers is, as we all know, these guys are actually trained observers. They're trained to pick up on the things that other people miss, behaviors and just whatever, really. So when a police officer actually is a witness, I got to give them all the credibility in the world, because they're seeing things that other people are dismissing or just plain not seeing.
Right. There's something I have to bring up in regards to James Blackwood. 42 years later, after he retired from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, he pursued a private life, and his wife passed away suddenly. And when she passed away, before she passed away, she asked James Blackwood to do something for her. She had a hobby where she fed raccoons on her deck. So if you are familiar with the raccoon whisperer, James Blackwood, the UFO encounter James Blackwood, is now known on YouTube and on TikTok as the raccoon whisperer. So let's bring that clip up so you all can see it, just in case you haven't seen it, or you have seen it and you want to see it again. We got it for you. So here we go. Oops, I got to do something. Hold on a second. I wish they would make this automatic. Share. Okay, here we go.
Oh my God. Yes. 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 I'm wall-to-wall raccoons. You ready?
He's feeding them hot dogs.
Let's go.
5 pounds every night.
Oh my God. This is crazy. This is crazy. You know, there's got to be 30 raccoons at least.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God. Yes. 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 I'm wall-to-wall raccoons. You ready?
Yep, that's James Blackwood, the Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman who had the UFO encounter.
This is crazy. This is crazy.
Listen to him. Grunting and whatnot.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. What I want to say about this is we're reaching out to the real Jim Blackwood and trying to bring him on the channel for a live interview so that he can actually tell us, or so we can hear it from the horse's mouth, what happened to him in 1978. I've been told by several people, one in particular, Thomas Fessler, who's in the chat, thank you, Thomas, that Jim Blackwood was ridiculed by news channels, by phone calls, by peers in his own profession for years.
Sure.
And so for him to come out and give that testimony took a lot of courage. So I give him a big thumbs up.
All the respect in the world for a guy that's working for anybody's government and any government service in any capacity to be able to come forward and tell their story. It takes a lot of guts. Believe me, I know, because I've been there. I've absolutely been there.
Right.
And, you know, it's you worry about the ridicule and things like that. You worry about people thinking that you're imbalanced or something. And it's like, look, I wasn't crazy 10 minutes ago before I told you this story. We've worked together for 10 years. I wasn't crazy. I tell you this story and all of a sudden now I'm crazy. I mean, and people are like that, unfortunately.
Right. NENNINE said they do it all the time. They try to make you look like an idiot. Well, I got to tell you something, NENNINE. Being named UFO Man, I've gone way out there. And I get tons of either ridicule or commentary that's positive as well. I would say for the most part, most of it's positive, but sometimes I do get ridicule. So yes, that does happen. Okay, Tommy, let's segue into your news segment.
Fantastic, folks. Tim sent me out on a mission, gave me an assignment. He wanted me to go out there and find the biggest UFO stories of 2020. There were a lot of UFO stories out there. In fact, there were so many out there that it quickly dawned on me, and I realized that, well, the biggest story, the UFO story of 2020, isn't any one sighting or event. It's the fact that there were so many more sightings than the year prior. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay.
Hold on a minute. Okay.
Okay, very good. This is a couple of things that are pretty cool. First of all, this is an actual map of UFO sightings. Okay, let me go ahead and blow this up if I can. It looks like that's as big as she's going to get. But anyway, you can actually see the sightings by state. You got a scale. I think we can probably see it better this way. You actually have a scale, and you look at the little scale that they've got, the UFO with the cow, which is cool. But what's interesting about it is, let me get to it here. Okay, Idaho had the most sightings of any other state in 2020. Okay, according to whatever this study is, it had 164 UFO sightings, or get this, 9.18 sightings per 100,000 people. Per 100,000 members of the populace, there were 9.18 UFO sightings. That's a pretty staggering number, if you ask me. According to the study, other top states include Montana, New Hampshire, Maine, and New Mexico, which is home to the Roswell, of course, renowned for an alleged alien UFO crash in 1947, and home to the International UFO Museum and Research Center. I'm going to go there at some point in my life. But check this out. According to the center's data, there were 6,340 sightings in 2019, up from 3,456 sightings. Okay, so during the prior year. Now, during the first 3 months in 2020, sightings are up by 112% compared with the same time period in 2019. Think about that for a moment. I mean, 112% right off the bat. I mean, the first 3 months of last year. So what does that tell us? What does that mean? Does that mean that more people are becoming more sensitive to the UFO issue? More people are just simply looking up? Is it that, or is it that ET has become a great deal more, let's say, active for whatever reason, in our airspace? I mean, nobody knows, but according to this, I mean, think about that, 112% increase for the first 3 months of the year. That is just extraordinary, if you ask me. Tim, what are your thoughts?
I almost think it's because more people are staying home because of COVID. So they're out in their backyard, with their cameras and whatnot, texting and surfing the web, and all of a sudden they look up and they see something, and they're capturing more sightings. I don't necessarily believe that there's been a dramatic increase in sightings. I do believe that there's been a dramatic increase in filming actual things in the sky, because people are actually starting to look up. Mm-hmm. They're not looking down all the time. They're bored with their day-to-day existence because of the lockdowns. It's just the way it's been. I'm one of them, so I know. But I gotta say, there has been a slight increase in sightings worldwide. Yes. And what I've noticed is that some of the sightings are not just lights in the sky. They're structured vehicles, or they appear to have structure. Now, whether they're drones, alien reproduction vehicles from whatever country, or whether they're alien in nature, it is yet to be determined. But I would believe that probably all of them are being sighted. What with the advancements in technology on our end, I'm sure that we have discs, and other than triangles, we have discs out there flying around that are human piloted. I mean, we did the Cache Landrum live stream either 2 weeks ago, and that was a human piloted alien vehicle. So it goes to say that it is occurring. We had a guest on here 3 weeks ago, Mr. Simeon, his name was Simeon. He was a remote viewer, and he said that there were discs remote viewed in the hangars of Area 51. So that tells me that we either have ARVs flying around or we have saucers flying around. That could be ours. So keep that in mind, and we'll go from there. Tommy, you got more news?
I absolutely believe Bob Lazar when it comes to the 9 vehicles. I believe the man. I think he's credible all day. I remember when that came out, and I was senior in high school, and it was like a really, really big deal. It was huge. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what I'm trying to say about what the news is. We have this increase in sightings, and the thing about it is a lot more people are getting out there because people are starting to realize, and it could be like, to Tim's point, the COVID thing, people have nothing more to do. They've actually tried to figure out how their phone works. Okay. And if you do that, most people, even if you have the cheapest phone out there, you've still got a fairly decent camera in your pocket. I mean, if you've got a modern phone at all within the last 2-3 years, right? And I think that a lot of people are actually out there, getting out there, and they're learning how to use their phone. They're looking up because they're bored with everything else, and they're actually starting to see things. And like Tim's point, we are getting more and more sightings of actually structured objects versus just your round ball orb of light kind of thing. We're seeing a lot of daytime sightings and things like that. It almost, to me, looks like there's sort of an uptick in that. And again, I think, like Tim said, it's just because people are simply looking up because there's, I guess, nothing else to do.
Right. Or they're just bored.
Right.
And they catch it. More people are capturing sightings. Okay. What we're going to do next, Tommy, do you have any more news?
I don't think so, but I just do want to do one quick public service announcement. Okay. Whatever phone that you're rocking, whatever phone that you have in your purse, your pocket, your back pocket, whatever, I promise you that if you go out to YouTube, that there's somebody out there, there's about 8 million videos that will show you exactly how to use your camera and get the most out of it. And a lot of these videos are like, 10, 12 minutes of your time. Trust me, if you're a UFO person, you're really interested in this and you really want to capture something, learn how to use your equipment. That's like the number one thing.
Yeah, and have your settings already set before you go out in the car, because right. If you see something, you can't have time to set your phone up to take a shot. So you got to have it set up in advance. Okay, we have a clip of the top UFO videos that were posted on UFO Man during 2020. There is no audio on this. What we're going to do is just play the clips and interact with you in the chat and also make comments along the way. So let me get this set up. Don't have to worry about audio. These are some of the better ones that I had. So here we go. No sound. So what do you think of this, Tommy?
I think that's outstanding. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's man-made vehicle or some kind of man-made object, or if that's extraterrestrial in nature. But either way, that is just a cool shot. I mean, that is, it really is.
This is over Cancun, Mexico, showing a spiral type shaped object. I have no idea what this is. Anybody in the chat have an idea? Yeah. Thomas Fessler says he's starting a UFO channel on YouTube, and it's under the name Thomas Fessler, so that if you want to go over there and subscribe to him, feel free to do so. He has some good stuff coming out. So check them out. Okay, here's a lunar disc. Now, this one is incredible.
I love this one. I absolutely love this video.
I mean, just phenomenal.
Nothing flies away from the moon like that. I mean, maybe something could fly into it that way, but that thing's flying away from it.
And it's flying out of it. It's coming right out of that canyon.
Right.
Here's a UFO evading a laser. Watch this.
Check that out.
And here's one over Pontiac, Michigan. No one was sure for if this was actually UFOs or drones. Hard to say if it was drones, but then again, hard to say if it's a UFO. Don't know.
Isn't that the one that we found out there was like a drone school nearby and they were actually it was a drone show? Because that one had me fooled.
There is a drone school nearby, but it was never confirmed that it was a drone show. This is one on the Baja California coastline, and it's actually moving really quickly to the left. So if you see the building coming into view, it's just passing that beach building. There you go.
Guy did a pretty good job tracking that.
Here's Sao Paulo, Brazil. This looks like, if any of you know what stucco looks like, it looks like a stucco texture to this UFO, egg-shaped, and it is moving. Here's a weird thing over London, England.
Love this one. Love it.
Don't know what it is. Couldn't tell you.
Another one of those sightings that has substance.
People thought it might be a flock of birds, but it doesn't really look like birds when it flies by. Don't know. It gets bigger as it comes closer. I'm going to slow it down so you can take a real good look at it. Hey, Killian McGee, good to see you. Okay, then we'll go to the next one. This one's over Panama City, showing a cylinder or a cigar-shaped craft. And it just flies behind that tree. This one here is the jellyfish or manta-shaped object over Calumet City, Indiana. And it holds its shape. So in my opinion, it's not a plastic bag, nor is it a parachute, because it would change shape with the wind. You remember this one, Tommy?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Love this. Love this one. This one is just mind-blowing right here.
Yeah, this is going to fly over a wind farm.
Mm-hmm.
It's being filmed by a trucker. That's why it's going up and down, because he's on the road. Julie, you're Indiana born?
That's just staggering footage. Look at that.
Welcome, Kelly. Yes, it goes behind that mountain, that small hill there that the windmills are on top of. It passes behind it. But I don't play it that long for you to see it drop down behind it. I have too many clips. Okay, next one. This pink one lands in a lady's backyard, actually. Goes down behind some trees.
Outstanding.
Glasgow, Scotland. Welcome from Glasgow, Scotland. Rorschach Mad. Welcome to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Bob Gray. I didn't get to say hi to you earlier.
That is just too cool.
Chad Baker, good to see you too. Yeah, that is cool. I'm sorry, Tommy. Let's just replay. Jeremiah Thompson, good to see you from San Antonio.
Bob, you're right, Bob. That looks like swamp gas to me, brother.
Yep. Reflection off the butt of a goose. Hi, Delta Fit. Nice to see you. Here's one over Japan. Now, at first, I thought this might be a drone because of the hole in the center. But it closes up and it opens up on the sides. So take a look. Let me know what you think over there in the comments. Yeah. It's just odd. And it's reflecting light, or it has a light on the top left corner, like at the 11 o'clock position.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to be heading to the next one. I showed this for a while. So it opens up again, I think. Person did a pretty good job filming it.
Yeah, he tracked it pretty well. That's the other thing. My advice is, and I hope I can follow my own advice, because I've never actually had a camera in hand when I had my experiences, but try to calm down. You know, when you're seeing something like that, try to get your breathing under control and try to get the best photo or the best video that you can out of it. Okay. And that's my advice.
My advice is to brace your hand, when your arm or your hand, when you're photographing or videotaping something, because then the image won't shake all over the screen.
Great point.
And also turn your camera panoramic view rather than up and down. Turn it sideways so we get a better view of what you're seeing.
Like this.
Yes. And one way I caught a lot of UFOs on film is randomly just take photographs of the sky. At night, during the day, you don't know what you're going to catch. Here's one by Mount Fuji. Tommy, you thought this was a pretty cool one because it looks like it's cloaked.
Love it.
Servant of Yeshua. Perhaps you don't. We really don't know. RENE CRUZ. Blue 2. I get you. John Kinden, welcome. Yes, sometimes lens flares are a difficulty when you take pictures. That's why you must try to keep the sun behind you when you photograph. That way you will diminish the amount of lens flares.
And also understand that no matter what you do, you could actually get the most perfect footage ever taken of a UFO. And you're going to put it on the internet. And there's always going to be that percentage of people out there that, you know, oh, what did you shoot it through a potato? Oh, you know, that's the Monday morning quarterbacking of the videos. I love those guys.
Or you get a really clear photo where you can see it sharp as day. And they'll say automatically, oh, that can't be real. That's CGI. Because there's no way you got such a clear shot. But I've gotten tons of comments on videos where people have said, when are people going to get a good camera? We got the iPhone 12 Pro Max. You know, it's like not everyone can afford a good camera, and not everybody in the civilized world has one.
Right, or access to even purchase something like that. They've got, you know, 10-year-old technology. Yeah,
I'm one of them. I have an iPhone 6. So, hey. This is Richmond, Virginia. And I thought it was weird because of how the lights spread out. And the fact that there are two flashing red lights. First there's one, and then all of a sudden there's two. Yeah, I hear you, NENNINE. I understand. Here's unknown light seen over Krasnodar Reservoir, Russia. One thing I want to explain about this, the girl that took the video, she is a digger girl, meaning she goes out with a metal detector and digs things out of the ground. She wasn't even looking for UFOs. When she found this, it was above a reservoir that only gets to about 4 feet deep. So that's why there's no shipping on it, because it's not deep enough. So what you're seeing is the top row of lights is reflecting off the reservoir. So check that out. What is that? I don't know. But according to her, it was a huge, huge thing. Look how far away she was when she filmed it. There it is. Here's one over, I can't say it, Tepoztlan, Mexico, showing an item that's red in color originally, and then it turns green and lands in some trees. We watched this before, Tommy. What did you think about that?
Well, you know, this is one that's very, it's very hard to describe. Look at the color change of that thing. And it looks like it disturbs a tree on its way down, if I'm not mistaken. If we could back that up just a smidge.
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on a minute.
You know, disturbs a tree branch to the point like if it were a balloon or, you know, garbage or whatever. I mean, look at this, the very end here, just as soon as it goes under.
Yeah, Thomas Fessler in the chat says it's slowly rotating. Yes, it is. And it looks like there's 2 white lights on it, but I think it's a reflection.
Watch here, right here. It goes in.
Yep. It hits that one tree. Yep.
Yep.
It does. The one thing about it is I want you to notice right here it's round, but when it goes down, it changes shape a little bit. It changes into like a triangular base. You'll see it as it comes down. Changes into a triangular kind of right there. See that? I'll go back a little bit. Right as it's turning, you'll see it. It kind of has points on it. Right there. See it?
Yep.
It looks pointed.
It's coming in for a landing.
Right.
Landing configuration.
So there you go. That's
it disturbs the foliage right there.
Yeah,
that's one that had weight to it. Mass.
Here's one over Norwalk, Ohio, egg-shaped, and it seems to open up in the middle. Now, originally people were thinking that this might be a weather balloon or a opening parachute. First off, there are no strings or ropes coming down from the parachute. And if you notice, it doesn't open up like one. Secondly, it's not the same shape as a parachute. And thirdly, weather balloons, although they are that color, don't necessarily have a split in the middle like that.
They're a different shape. They're more like a teardrop type of shape, and they're symmetric to the ground, and that one's not.
Right. Now, this was filmed at 27 to 30,000 feet by a passenger jet co-pilot. Check this out. He says it was definitely not of human origin. This was recently over the Gulf of Mexico, filmed by an offshoreman on a ship, and you will see birds fly through. Now, he originally said there were 8 lights, but when I got it, there were only 6. 5 up above in a row, and then 1 down below. And you could see the ocean. It's the dark layer. This is significantly offshore. This is not anywhere near ground. So I think that's a really good one. What do you think, Tommy?
I love that shot. That is something that is very unusual. It's very unnatural. I mean, to me, I mean, look at that's just. I mean, that's definitely a definite maybe. It doesn't. I mean, you're in the open ocean. You know, you got open water out there. Real bad place for a drone to be hanging out, especially, you know, like a regular civilian type drone. I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but
right. What I'm going to say about it is this: I had a sighting in 2009 of 6 amber-colored burning objects that look very much like this, and I've spent my time since 2009 searching for a sighting that matched what I saw, and this is pretty darn close right there. And we had 12 witnesses. So I think it's crazy sighting. I think it's really good.
And they love water. ETs love water for some reason.
Yeah, so these might be USOs actually as well, underwater submerged objects that are just suspended above the ocean. Not just UFOs or UAPs. Yeah, I got a closer up right there. There's the 5 together. This is over Mexico. I don't know exactly where, so I didn't put it up, but it's a cylinder. But what gets me is either it must be so commonplace that these guys that are working on the building aren't looking up at it, or they already did look up at it and don't care. What do you think, Tommy?
I think they looked at it, I just don't think it's I think they're more interested in what they're doing there than anything else. But it looks to me like they definitely spot it.
Yeah, that one guy's looking at it.
I think so too. But as far as the object itself is concerned, I mean, that's just not something that you generally see in the sky every day. And even if that were like a little bit of a contrail or something like that, you'd see it dissipate. And that doesn't appear to be dissipating at all. It looks like that's one solid something.
And it has what looks like an energy field around it, too.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Hey, Alex, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you.
Hey, Alex.
Good to see you, man. Long time no see. I survived, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, Denmark. Check this out.
Boom. Out of there.
Yep. I got a couple more close-up shots of this. Big Dog DB Cooper, you got it.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I appreciate that, sir. You'll enjoy it. Look at that. That is just...
Here's Tallahassee, Florida. Now you'll see it closer here in a second. Look how fast it's going.
Boom.
I slowed it down and enlarged it.
And what you have to understand about something, let's say if that thing were 10,000 feet in the air and it would be moving that fast, you're talking about breaking the sound barrier. You would hear that. I mean, there would be an audible.
You would.
Yeah.
But for the most part, most UFOs that go out of the sight real quick, you don't hear anything like a sonic boom. You don't hear it. You don't hear it at all.
They've got that figured out. They've got that conquered.
Thanks, Alex. I really appreciate it. We're trying our best to bring as much quality and mix it up a little bit so everybody has a better time on our channel. So if anybody in the chat has ideas or topics they want to discuss on our channel, please feel free to write them down in the chat and we will note them and perhaps present them at a later date. Right, Tommy?
Absolutely. You betcha. We're always looking for new ideas, new things to try on the channel. So yeah, and again, like Tim and I always say, we do this for you guys. We do this for the audience. So anything that you guys think would turn you on, please, we're all ears, and we'd be happy to try to make it happen for you.
Yeah, in the future coming up here, Tommy and I are going to experiment with green screening. Mm-hmm. We're both going to be doing green screening because Thomas, who is usually with us, is also green screening. So we're going to up our production value and hopefully entertain you better. Okay, this is in Chile. This is Toledo, Ohio. I found this strange because of the configuration of lights, but what got me were the bottom two lights joined together. Hey, Ford, good to see you. Nice that you dropped in. I'm glad you're here. Say hi to your other half for me.
I'm still going with aircraft on that one. Just something about that silhouette. I've seen it before.
Yeah, I know that bothers you. Here's one from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now, this is triangular kind of in shape, obviously, but it has a weird white glow underneath. I don't know what this is.
See, this would be a great one to go out and interview the source if we could figure out who the source is.
Right. I would like to interview all these people.
That's my backyard.
I know. My brother's backyard, too. One of these days, I'm going to have him hook up with you.
Yeah.
Okay, this is in Mesa, Arizona. Thought it was interesting because it was dropping material.
Someone was just mentioning that in the chat. Who was that? Here we go. Jeremiah Thompson. He was just mentioning that.
I see him mentioning the National Bell. I'll go up and look. Yeah, there are a lot of UFOs lately dropping material. I don't know if it's sloughing off some type of goo on the outside of the craft after it enters our airspace, or if it's dropping something from inside the vehicle. I don't know. But here's San Diego, California. Now, I couldn't get them all in the shot. There are actually 7 lights. 6 to begin with, and then it becomes 7. And they maintain their altitude. They don't drop.
You don't see a smoke trail like a flare.
You don't see a smoke trail, so it's definitely most likely not a flare, yeah. Mm-hmm. What they are, now they could be drones, but if they're drones, they're putting out a lot of light.
Bunch.
So they would have to be significantly large. See, now look. See how many there are there? Wow.
Someone was mentioning to me recently about, well, I just got a bunch of flashlights as a Christmas gift, and these are like super flashlights. Okay, they're super, super bright and all of that. And even as bright as these things are, and they're like, I mean, they'll hurt you if you look at them. Even at that far away, you're still not going to see that size of a light coming off of a drone. I mean, it would take an enormous amount of power to be able to pull that off.
Unless the drone is a military drone and it's significantly large.
Well, sure.
And maybe it could pull it off, but I don't know. This is over LaPorte, Indiana, over between LaPorte and Elkhart, Indiana, my neck of the woods, because Julie, just to let you know, I'm Indiana born as well. LaPorte, Indiana, I'm very familiar with, and it's all cornfields and flat ground.
See, I love that. I love it when an object goes behind or in front of something, so you can get more of a scale and contrast on it.
Right. You can also tell if it's real.
Right. It's very difficult to fake that.
Now, this also goes behind the barn to the left. You'll see it. I don't know if I showed that much of the footage, but we'll see. Some people thought it might be a blimp, but the thing I don't see in the footage is I don't see a cupola underneath, and I don't see any tail fins.
It's moving too.
Well, blimps move.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really moving for a blimp. A blimp takes a little while to get from A to B. That looks like it's moving along pretty good. I mean, maybe, but.
Servant of Yeshua said, what's up with the triangular formations and this triangles? There's a lot of man-made alien reproduction vehicles that are triangular. There are also, the triangle is actually part of a five-pointed star, and the five-pointed star is a universal symbol used throughout the galaxy to symbolize life, by the way, meaning the top point is the head, the two right points are the arms, and the two bottom points signify the legs of a universal body shape. So maybe the triangle has something to do with that. I don't know. Anyways, I was reaching.
They say that Roswell, there's rumors that Roswell was a triangular shaped vehicle. It was not a saucer.
Yeah, it was more of a wedge triangular. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Gabice, Mogilno County, Poland. And then this one here, Texas. You can see it go behind the trees, and then watch. Boom. That's just awesome. It's fast. Person that filmed it was a lady. She was just going nuts when she saw it. Yeah, that Poland one was kind of interesting, wasn't it, Jeremiah? I agree. It was really interesting. Check this one out over the Statue of Liberty. Now, this could very well be an ARV, an alien reproduction vehicle, like maybe one of our triangular secret projects, or it could be an alien vehicle. I don't know which one it is, can't verify either one. Now, I will get closer so you can see it better.
Rotation.
Yep.
Looks like it's one solid piece. You're not going to get drones that cooperate that well. Look at even changed angles.
Yep. Watch this. This is closer. Look at all the lights on it. It's just awesome. Yeah. One more look, and I think we're done with this video clip. What I think is interesting is how the light pattern changes. It goes from 2 on each corner to making it look like an octagon. Mm-hmm. And then it goes back to 2 on each corner, to 1 on each corner.
I think it's wobbling. It's changing. See, look, it's like right here, it kind of flattens out.
Right. Here's Sao Paulo, Brazil again. We're going to zoom in on this so you guys can take a better look. It's a double row of lights, actually, right on top of each other. Now, it's moving quite quick, so it moves past the car. Yes, Stevie Cooper, I agree with you. Majority of sightings could be ours. Yeah. we've come a long way since Project Paperclip in 1942 when we took over some of the German technology. So I would say that a significant number of structured vehicles are ours, but I think the ones that are more ethereal looking, the ones that are more just lights, might beg to be something other. Check this out. This is UFO Peru. Now I will get closer. I don't know what that is. The guy that said he saw it said it was quite large. He thought it might be 100 feet across. Now, with the way the lights are stationary on the bottom and the top, I almost thought it was a drone. What do you think, Tommy?
That is a toughie.
Peru is like in the mountains of Peru, where most likely most people don't have access to really big quality drones like that.
I would guess their military probably doesn't even have anything like that.
All right, here's Santiago, Chile, filmed at 30,000 feet. Supposedly a giant mothership of sorts over, I know the mountain's name, but I can't think of it right now.
Isn't that the
Are you going to say the Andes?
I was going to say the Andes, but with a plane crash, you know, that soccer team or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same mountain range. I think it's a different one, but I think the mountain's called Telmo Mountain. I'm not sure, but the craft was estimated at a half-mile wide. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
And I will get closer. Okay, here we go. Let's get closer. Yeah, it does look like one object, doesn't it? Servant of Yeshua. Absolutely. I agree.
Yep.
No, I don't think it's a formation. I think it's one object. D.B. Cooper said, like, if that wasn't fake, what the heck was that? Yes, I agree. Okay, it looks like we're done with our large UFO clip. But I do have another video I want to place. Just hold on a second. Another UFO video. This one was worked on by both myself and Thomas Fessler. Because I lost my editor and I needed someone to help me edit it. So he, out of the goodness of his heart, edited it. So I'm giving a shout out to Thomas. Thank you, Thomas. I gotta make sure I got sound here. So just hold on a second. Go out of there. Go back on, check the sound. They don't make this easy on StreamYard, I tell you. Okay.
It should default on.
It should be default on, yes. Here we go. See it drop something?
The like it's hot and then it cools off, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
Except we did more of a detailed analysis. Watch the end screen right here. Just wow right there. I'm going to stop it and go back to that. Right there where it drops it. See it?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? I don't know.
That sighting that I had in northern Iowa.
Yeah.
That story that I put in the book. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, there was a large UFO right in front of me that was in trouble, and it was dumping some kind of really super bright liquid occasionally on the ground. Well, I don't know if it ever hit the ground, but it was dumping it out of, like, I don't know if it was the back of it or bottom of it or whatever. And then two smaller ones came out of nowhere, pulled up right on either side of it, and actually repaired this thing right in front of me. I watched that happen. So they do tend to dump waste or whatever that is, and that stuff is real bright and real hot when it first comes out.
Yeah, a lot of sightings lately have been showing objects dropping material. There was a famous one actually over Fukushima nuclear power plant after the tsunami that showed an object spitting out objects in a stream on both sides. That was one of the more famous ones, but a lot of them are dropping objects like that one I showed from Mesa, Arizona with the orange orbs going down.
What about that famous one that's actually, it blows that cloud out from behind it, that like dark cloud out from behind it?
Right.
About that one, what the heck was that? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. There's been a lot of strange sightings. Now, a friend of mine, I didn't show the clip tonight, but a friend of mine over on Disclose Screen, the Grim Reaper, if you go over to his channel, he has a video out right now that shows what looks like a pirate ship above some clouds, and then a religious figure above some clouds, which, in my opinion, they're experimenting with Project Bluebeam. So check out that video clip and you'll see what I mean. I think Bluebeam is being enacted, which is a precursor to a false flag alien invasion if they can perfect it. So keep that in mind. And that's pretty much all I got to say for this live stream. Tommy, any last comments?
Well, folks, first of all, happy New Year. We appreciate everybody for coming back. Sorry we were absent. Both Tim and I were both under the weather last week, so we appreciate everybody for coming back. We had a great show tonight, some real interesting videos, and I'm sure that we're going to have a lot more to show you this year coming. So thanks again for everything, folks.
Yeah, I'm still, well, no, I'm pretty much over COVID. So thank you all for all your good wishes and sentiments. I really appreciate it. And as always, Happy New Year. Happy 21. I hope it's going to be a better year. I don't know if I can say that, but I hope so. Stay healthy. We'll see you next time. And okay, hold on a second here. I got to do something. All right. We'll see you next time.